Hello, and welcome to another Trumpet Chops video. Today, we're going to talk about pedal tones. Many of my favorite exercises utilize pedal tones, and it's become an integral part of my daily practice routine. But I found that many people misunderstand or misuse pedal tones. So today, I want to answer some questions about pedal tones, namely what they are and how we can use them. And I'm going to give you 4 exercises you can use as a part of your daily practice routine. Let's get into it. So first, let's answer the question of what are pedal tones? Pedal tones are notes below the natural range of the trumpet that we can achieve through the manipulation of the lips, air, and tongue. Unless your name is Arturo Sandoval or Peter Evans, you aren't very likely going to be using pedal tones in regular musical performance because, frankly, most people find pedal tones to sound a little bit abrasive. They are, however, a very effective tool in trumpet practice. So why should we use pedal tones as a part of our practice routine? Well, firstly, they do a great job of relaxing and bringing blood flow back into the lips. For this reason, I often use pedal tones as a part of my warm-up or warm-down in my practice routine. Secondly, they do a great job of encouraging lip buzz, which can help lead to a more vibrant sound at the instrument. And thirdly, they can help teach you to connect your upper and lower registers. If you're like me and you want to be able to play from way up high down to way down low and go back up high again all in one breath, then maybe pedal tones are the exercises for you. So now, let's begin talking about some pedal tone exercises we can use as a regular part of our practice. This first exercise is one that I got from Lori Frank when I was studying with her at the New England Conservatory, and incorporates elements both of pedal tones with bending exercises. This first exercise should also be a great preliminary exercise for pedal tones, as it'll help you to understand the proper way to perform pedal tones. For this first pedal tone exercise, what I'd like for us to do is to start on low C and, not changing our fingering, bend that note down to the B below it. We'll then repeat this exercise, fingering the B, but bending that note down to the B flat below it. We'll continue this down until we're in our pedal tone register. And I'd like for us to go all the way until we bend from D flat pedal to the C below that. I hope you're now starting to get a little bit of an idea for the sound and feeling of these pedal tones. You might have noticed that it takes a lot of air in order to be able to sustain a pedal tone. What I've done over time is experiment with tongue position in order to restrict the amount of airflow I'm using in order to be able to sustain these notes for longer. What that looks like is I've allowed the arch of my tongue to go upwards almost to the roof of my mouth, and then the tip of my tongue to go downwards. This kind of restricts the airflow so that I'm not using it all up so quickly. Something else you might have noticed, and will certainly notice in the upcoming exercises, is that we essentially have 2 ranges of pedal tones. There's the pedal tone register just below our natural register, from the F to the D flat below it, and then there is a second range of pedal tones from the C to everything below that. This second range of pedal tones can take some time to adjust to. The intonation can be a little bit trickier, but with a little bit of time and experimentation, I'm sure you can figure out how to make these notes sound just as viable as that first pedal tone register. By the way, if you're a trumpet player interested in private lessons in order to learn more about pedal tones or other studies that can help in developing strength, technique, and sound at the instrument, there is a private lesson inquiry form on my website, link in the description below. Also on my website, you can find PDFs of my jazz improvisation studies from my other YouTube videos here on this channel. Thanks. This next pedal tone exercise uses descending major triads, starting with C, going down in half steps until we hit our pedal tone register. Focus on bridging the gap between your natural register and your pedal tones. Again, the notes of the second pedal tone register can be a little tricky to get the intonation quite right. Focus on your tongue placement and use your ears in order to make any adjustments. This is a variation on our second pedal tone exercise. We'll start the same as before. We'll go down our major arpeggio, but then we're going to come back up afterwards. This will force us to not only go from our natural register into our pedal tone register, but also to come back out of it. This will help to teach us to keep a consistent embouchure through all registers of our instrument. I do think it's important that I mention some considerations we should make when we practice these pedal tones. Firstly, we should be careful not to overblow when we're playing pedal tones. And secondly, we should be careful not to allow our chops to spread too much when we're playing these pedal tones. The reason for both is that it can lead to a loose and weak embouchure. So we want to keep things as tight as we possibly can while we're playing down in the pedal tone register. This next exercise comes from James Stamp's Warm-Ups and Studies. This exercise does a great job of not only using our pedal tones, but then pairing that with notes of our mid to upper register, which teaches us to be able to play phrases that combine both the low and high registers. This last study is something that I've been playing around with myself, incorporating pedal tones into my regular major scale practice. You'll notice that I'm not only descending lower into my pedal tone register, but also ascending higher into my extreme upper register. Because these phrases can get quite long, I'm using a technique where I keep the mouthpiece on my lips, but breathe through my nose whenever I need to take a breath. This is common in many exercises where we want to keep a consistent embouchure through an entire phrase, but is not something that we want to get used to doing in performance. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's gone a little ways towards explaining what pedal tones are and how we can use this powerful tool in our practice sessions. If you're interested in private lessons, there's an inquiry form on my website, link in the description below. Also on my website, you can find PDFs of all of my jazz improvisational studies. Also, if you're interested in seeing more of this kind of content in the future, please like, comment, and subscribe so you can see my future videos on jazz improvisation and trumpet. Thank you very much, and happy practicing.